I thought that going live on my phone would just automatically go to the camera view that I had. And it does not turn out that that works that way. So we will see how this experiment works out. Hope everybody is awake and ready for this day. I'm not sure I am, but here we go. I want to open with prayer. We'll just jump right in and open with our opening prayer. There is only one presence and one power, God the good omnipotence. We center ourselves in that presence and power this morning, grateful for the opportunity to come together, to be together, to know that Spirit is alive and well in us, connecting us in ways that we normally do on a physical basis, joining hands in our hearts. We come together on this day in celebration of the truth that we know. We are one, and so it is. Amen. So, this is my house. You'll know that because there's a flying pig behind me, and there are pictures on my windowsill. This is live, so all the bumps and things that we uh, run into will be live and recorded, and that will be part of the experiment and the excitement. Live also means that you've heard me talk about my dog Raymond. He's real, and if he decides to bark, he takes his guard dog duties very seriously. You will hear him bark. So just know that that's part of the process. I feel like the one man band that has, the harmonica and the drum and the guitar and the cymbal and everything that you are supposed to play all at once and press all the right buttons. So we'll see how that works. Some of what I was going to do today depended on using my phone and my computer, not using my computer for the live stream. So this may play out more interestingly than I thought. But it is what it is. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is that we can have some fun with Facebook Live. And I had the opportunity to watch a Facebook Live concert with one of my favorite musicians last night, Kelly Hunt. And I got clued into some of the dynamics. Like, usually, you're looking at me and I'm looking at you. And today, you're looking at me and I'm looking at me. So that's kind of weird, but it also makes it so that I don't have any feedback. So if I pause for the part where you're laughing, I don't actually hear you laughing. But you can put things in the comments. You can also, if you want to join with the people you would normally sit with, you can host a watch party, which is kind of fun. And you can, in your watch party, talk amongst yourselves. And I don't think I'll be able to see you doing that. So that could be an advantage. and it can be kind of fun. So I actually had a watch party last night and was conversing with a couple people while we were listening to Kelly Hunt. So I'm going to do some things today to try to keep us in our normal pattern. And so I Marissa says she's laughing. Okay, good. This is helpful. So I want to start with our affirmations. You can say them with me if you can remember them. And I'm don't have a bulletin in front of me, so I'm going to be remembering them. Our denominational affirmation, what unity believes, is that truly there's only one power, one presence, and one activity in my life and in the universe. God the good omnipotence. So we are living that affirmation today, knowing that there is only one power and one presence, and we're in it now, even though we're not in the sanctuary where we can see one another. Our vision for the world is that we co create an awakened world of peace, harmony, and abundance. And part of the way that we do that is to continue our spiritual practice, continue to do what we can to awaken ourselves and our world. And our mission, united in love, we provide a positive environment for all people to discover and express their spiritual nature. And I know that the board and I feel like we are living our mission today, and that the most positive environment for all people is to practice what they're calling social distancing, to do our service on Facebook, live stream, and know that, at least for now, that is what we are guided to do, to be a positive environment. One of the things that we usually do in our opening is read the daily word. The daily word is pray for others. I want to try to read our daily word, knowing that as we pray for others, I affirm unfolding good in their lives and in mine. As I pray for others, I affirm unfolding good in their lives and in mine. Honored by the trust of those who request my prayers, I listen with compassion and then release all thoughts of illness, lack, limitation, or inharmony, knowing that my responsibility is not to set the situation right, but to see it rightly. I look beyond challenging conditions and attune to the essential truth that the one for whom I pray is created in God's image and is seeking to express God's likeness just as all people are, just as I am. I know that the divine presence, the Christ, is present both in me and in the one for whom I pray. It restores wholeness in mind, body, and emotions, guiding all decisions, inspiring prospering ideas, and bringing harmony and peace to all relationships. The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth. And that's from Psalm 145, verse 18. So, right now, I'm going to make some adjustments to things that I thought I had worked out and see if I can both see my computer and see what I'm doing. Because right now I am only seeing my computer, and I was not sure how I, but we'll see how this works. Maybe I don't need to see. Um, Maybe I don't need to see how this is going to work. Maybe we'll just trust that this is all going to work out. So, morning, we're going to talk about the void. And I admit it feels almost surreal to think that it's been just a week since we had our Sunday service in the sanctuary in our familiar seats at Unity of Lehigh Valley. If you were with us then, you know the topic was endings. In a time of transition, the first indicator that the process is underway is the ending. Innocently, we thought this transition series was preparation for my retirement and leaving ULV. As events have unfolded in our outer world, we are experiencing a transition in how we interact on a daily basis. Last week would prove to be a different kind of ending, one we can only see in hindsight. That's the somewhat unpredictable nature of endings. Sometimes you don't know it is the last time until it's over, which leads me to remind everyone to stay prayed up. Getting through this week took quite a bit of energy as conditions continue to evolve and change. It helps to have a prayer practice in place and to stay prayed up as you move through the days ahead. In critical times, it's essential. And even in the most ordinary of times, it's helpful. Mark told me that he thinks of the void as an intermission. An intermission is really a pause in something continuous. And the most disconcerting thing about a void is there has been an ending. Something is now missing, and it's not entirely clear what the next thing is. Reverend Brummett, in his book, says the void touches our deepest fears of helplessness, of abandonment, of death. Indeed, most of us would do anything to avoid these feelings. It is the avoidance of these feelings that is behind many of our addictive and dysfunctional behavior patterns. How many of us feel helpless now? How many of us have considered death in the past week? For those not accessing the service on Facebook this morning, I am confident there is a feeling of abandonment, about not having our sanctuary, about not having one another in close proximity during this time. I've heard it already expressed. In the weeks after I leave, the thoughts of death may not be literal or even physical, but about the life of community. I'm not affirming any of these thoughts, but presenting them as normal human responses to finding ourselves in a void. In nature, many of the transition processes occur without any choice. The seed dissolves into the sprout without a decision. The caterpillar might never spin a cocoon if it understood that it would come completely undone in there and emerge a totally different being. As sentient and reflective beings, we get to make choices. Last week, I talked about the style choices we had in handling the endings. Styles that include head in the sand, include being drugged forward, kicking and screaming, or being head up and eyes open, embracing the ending. How we choose to engage the ending may also impact how we engage the void. With either head in the sand or kicking and screaming, our behavior may begin to engage the numbing actions of our choice. Because we choose our numbing actions too. They can include alcohol, or shopping, or overeating, or binge watching television, or whatever our choice is. We find mindless things to do to fill the empty spaces in our head so that the thoughts we fear in the void, the fears themselves, don't have room to move into conscious awareness. The very dread of looking at the icky stuff drives us deeper into numbing actions. The void becomes a downward spiral, and we wonder if there's any way out. We pray for a new beginning, even though we are totally unprepared for a new beginning. Why? Why are we unprepared? Because we haven't cleared out a space for a new beginning. We haven't processed the ending, and we haven't let go of the fears that fill the void. What might happen in the void if we were choosing to engage the ending with our head up and eyes open to embrace what is? Do any of you remember when we redid the sanctuary space a couple years ago? Can you believe it's already been a couple years? We literally took everything out. We replaced the carpet. We kept the chairs. We painted the walls. And then consciously and deliberately, in the empty space, we reflected on what we wanted to put back in the sanctuary. There was some space for clarity in the openness we created. And what we see today does not look very much like what was here before. And I'm not saying that one is better than the other. I would say that each was and is appropriate for who we were and are in the moment. Endings are the evidence that Spirit has something different for us. Spirit has an expansion of some sort, no matter how much we grieve an ending. We can't get to the expansion unless we're willing to spend some time in the in-between time, gaining clarity about our fears and our letting go process. Brummett quotes the German mystic Meister Eckhart. God is not found in the soul by adding anything, but by a process of subtraction. In this very present void, I noticed immediately I had to let go of my familiar ideas about how church is done. I'm guessing we may discover some creative options we have postponed because we just wanted to stick with what we knew. We've talked about live stream. We've talked about different ways to do church. And yet, not until we found ourselves in the void did we actually explore it. The ending, although temporary, was prompted because the board felt the health of the community was a priority, too important to ignore, by just doing what we've always done. The void of not having gatherings created space. We'll be reflecting on what is important as we pay attention to the feelings we feel about the ending of gatherings in the sanctuary. We may be accessing new technology. I'm confident that in this emptiness, we will discern some new ways for Spirit to express through us in our new beginning. Certainly, there are more feelings to be present to if we are willing to engage the ending, and even different feelings to be present to in what arises in the void. Right now, and in the weeks and months to come, lots will bubble up. How do we sit in the void and move through it? I'm going to take some ideas from the book and from the announcement that went out through ULV. First and foremost, try not to get lost in your feelings and yet allow them to come up. We talked about feelings in endings, and when it seems nothing is happening, there is no certainty. Different feelings come up. Let them. Notice them. Journal the feelings and experiences. Dig a little deeper into where you first noticed them and how many other experiences these feelings might be tied to. Always return to center and know that feelings are part of the temporary human experience and aren't forever. At first, let go of the urgency of the feeling. Then, when you're ready, begin releasing the power and energy you are giving the feeling. Don't try to push the river. Moses wandered for 40 years. That's not a literal time that it's going to take to find a new minister. 40 years stands for as long as it takes. The transition process will take as long as it takes. And the key is to stay patient. The river only flows one direction, so don't try to go backwards, just to seek something familiar and comfortable. The cocoon can't be opened until the butterfly is able to push its way out. To try to open it early will mean the death of the butterfly. So try not to kill the seeds of a new beginning by digging them up to see if they are growing. Keep up with your prayer and meditation practices. Now is not the time to think you can let them go or that you're too busy for prayer. If some new practice arises in the void, embrace it. Just don't give up spiritual practice. Trust the process. Trust God, because that's how faith works. Confidence in what is unseen. Beneath the frozen ground in winter, within the bare limbs of trees, inside eggs and within cocoons, and in the broad, empty space that we create, divine life is busy creating. Remember that. Divine life is busy creating. Anticipate good, and in moments of tears, simply sit in the silence of not knowing the shape and the time of the good. But never abandon knowing that good is unfolding. Do not contract in fear. Stay open and generous with your time, talent, and treasure. In the void, give in the smallest ways to keep yourself open when you feel the tightness clenching your heart. Make a card, make a donation, make a cake, make a cup of tea, and sit down on the phone to listen. Give of yourself during this little void that we're experiencing and the void that will arise after I go. Take care of yourself physically. One of the oddest paradoxes that we fail to acknowledge is that the still and silent stress of grief and uncertainty is exhausting. Stay hydrated with water, exercise gently, and include lots of stretches, warm ups, and cool downs. Eat healthy, rest, and know that rest includes meditation, reading, and taking a nap. Stay connected. Often in times of stress, we isolate ourselves. We may feel that others don't feel the way we do. In times of change, we fear we will be judged for our opinion. And with social distancing comes distance. But distance doesn't have to mean disconnection, and change doesn't mean that support is abandoned. We have a system of chaplains for support. The board is open to hearing all the voices in the congregation as the process unfolds. And one benefit to spiritual community is the ability to lift one another up. So call someone you know. When we go back to meeting in our building, speak to someone you don't know. Use social media to connect with others. If you perceive darkness, Spirit is inviting you to be the light. This is a unique time in the creative process of ministry. So be creative. This week has been a reminder of both that I am in this process with you, and every ending, void, and new beginning is a part of my process. And it has also taught me that apparently there is no coasting to the finish line for me. I should have remembered that 10 days after I retired from corporate life, September 11th happened. So, why I thought retiring from ministry was going to be a smooth and easy process, I have no idea. I do know that the void is not forever. Don't get trapped in the limits of human conditioning that prompt us to avoid uncomfortable feelings and rush into the next thing. Let the void be the void for however long it needs to be. The first lesson in the Bible is that out of nothing and nothingness came everything. And however science ends up explaining that, the metaphysics of it remain that in creating an open space, we unleash our good. Next week, I will answer questions. If your question is not already in the box at church, you can email me at revjoy@rcn.com. And then we'll end our series the last Sunday in March by exploring the intentionality of new beginnings. So, no one knows what tomorrow brings. No one knows that endings are endings and new beginnings are new beginnings until sometimes we get beyond them. Now, let's take that into meditation for just a moment. The idea that the void is just what it is, a space that we create, a space that we allow to be a place of creativity. So we close our eyes if that's comfortable, feel supported right where you are, and know that there is no distance in our oneness. There is no distance in our connection. Wherever we are, God is. We allow this to be the truth that we know, even as we feel an empty space. even as we enter into that silent emptiness with some feelings of apprehension, uncertainty. We simply recenter into that place in our heart where we remember our oneness, where we feel our oneness. And we allow that silent, empty place to be a vessel where we let go of anything that limits, anything that stirs up fear. And we allow that empty place to be a vessel for new creativity, for new beginnings, for new ideas, new ways of doing things. In the silence, gently we bring our awareness back into this time and place. And know that we will be through this together, that there will be an ending to the void, and there will be a new beginning. And so it is. So now would be the time in the service where I would ask you to bless your gifts. So I'm going to ask you, how will you tithe? How will you continue to free that flow of giving? And I'm going to give you some answers. So on our announcement, there's a donate button so you can give on Facebook. On our website, there's a donate button so you can give through our website. You can mail a tithe to the church office, Unity, 26 North 3rd Street, Emmaus, Pennsylvania, 18049. The office will be open on Wednesday. You can drop a check off when the office is open from 8:30 to 3. So I'm going to go ahead and affirm with you our offering blessing. So if you just take in your mind or in your hands your offering, as we know together, the activity of spirit through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Announcements. Well, we are meeting on Facebook today, next Sunday, and the last Sunday. So for more information on details, you can check out our announcement, which is on Facebook and also on our website as a blog post, important announcements. Kennedy Spencer offered to help anyone who needs some errands run and is at higher risk and really needs to practice social distancing. We are holding Bev's family in prayer for healing, as we know the highest and best for each one, and strength and comfort for Bev. And we continue to hold Mary Dreisbach, our the woman who does our cleaning. Her surgery went well, and we hold her in prayer for continued healing. The board will reassess how we go forward on March 30th. So look for new announcements. The vote that we were going to do for our selection committee will take place via email that will go out today. So if you're a member and you have a current email address on file in the office, you should get that email today. We will be making phone calls to people who do not have a email address. And if you do not get an email, first check your spam box, but then you can email unitylv@rcn.com with your current email address. So I think that's about the end of what I have for today. Um, thank you, everyone. So, oh, I see an announcement from Anthony for Hello Dolly performance has been postponed. The Emmaus High School performance that we were going to go see together. So we'll send out more information when we get it on that. And if anybody has other comments, you can post them. Know that I'm available via email or messages left at church. So we are going to close today, not with Let There Be Peace on Earth, because I don't sing that well a cappella, but with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And our affirmation, may peace prevail in the hearts and minds of all beings. And so it is. Have a blessed week.